Yeah, what's up, guys? I seen Godzilla versus Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, and it kind of gave me ideas into something they could do for a continuation. I don't know how many of these movies they intend to do, but my idea would be for like the final the final movie, or potentially not, depending on where they can go after my idea. But anyways, for my idea, I don't know what I would call it. I'd probably call it like Godzilla X Kong Armageddon, something like that. That I would go with that, and essentially the way it would start is it would be like it would say 2019 or 2018. I don't recall the exact dates of like when all the stuff happens in the movie, but for me, if I would start off, I would give this one for mine. I would give it an R rating, and it would start off with King Ghidorah. And the opening scene would be King Ghidorah. He would be flying through. He would be leaving the ice area after his fight with Godzilla and King of the Monsters. It would start off with that, and he would be flying across the earth, and he would run into Rodan. It would be the same scene from King of the Monsters, but from Ghidorah's perspective. So you would get like a scene of Monster Zero flying through the sky, and then like Rodan, he would see Rodan from his view, and then they would clash. Like the intro would be like a fight between him and Rodan. It would be the same fight from King of the Monsters, but extended. Like Rodan would get more hits in. It would be more back and forth, more twirling through like his hurricane and all that type of stuff. But from his view, you would see like Kevin probably get pecked on by Rodan and clawed on, and maybe Rodan might shoot like some lava beam out of his mouth or something like that. But the fight would obviously end the same way it did, with like one head grabs one wing, one head grabs the other wing, then like he does like the gravity beam or whatever. But it would be a different view from Ghidorah's perspective, and the fight would be extended, because I feel like the fight in King of the Monsters was like 20 seconds or whatever. So I'd probably make this like a 2-minute battle of like, it would be an ear fight that would happen in the sky. And then after that, it would continue from Ghidorah's perspective. And then maybe, I don't recall exactly what happened after that, but I think he was chasing like a ship or something. I don't remember what Ghidorah was doing, but I do remember that he got tackled, he got ambushed from Godzilla by the water. So right after the battle with Rodan, he would get ambushed. He would probably soar down lower to the sea after Rodan's body hits the water or whatever. I guess he would pursue it lower to the ground and then see a ship or something like that, which would have been the scene from King of the Monsters again, but from Ghidorah's perspective. And then he would get attacked, or Kevin would get attacked by the G-Man, and then like they would have an underwater fight. So he would actually have battle damage from the Rodan fight that you would see regenerate, and then he would have the underwater fight with Godzilla. And if I remember correctly, they didn't really show much of that. I know Godzilla was winning it, but I think it was from the human's perspective. So you kind of seen him like coil Ghidorah up and start pulling him towards the sea floor. So I would extend that, and it would be an underwater battle from Ghidorah's perspective, where he's trying to like go back above the water, and he's just getting decimated under the water. And I believe this is also the fight in which he loses his head, if I'm not mistaken. I think he loses his head in the underwater fight. I could be wrong, but it's been a while since I've seen King of the Monsters. But yeah, I guess he would get his head ripped off. It would be like from his perspective though. And then the oxygen destroyer would hit Godzilla while he's beating up Ghidorah. And then like Ghidorah would then, kick Godzilla down. Godzilla's tail would lose his grip. There would be bubbles everywhere, and then Ghidorah would fly like out of the water. But from that point, the camera would follow. You would see Ghidorah from Godzilla's perspective, where like Ghidorah is flying upwards out of the water, and Godzilla's corpse is falling towards the seafloor while he's surrounded by a bunch of dead sea life that is floating up towards the I don't even know what the hell it's called, the top of the sea, whatever. You know, I'm not a marineologist or whatever, but anyways, his body would hit the depths of the water, and then like, because of the explosion from the oxygen destroyer, the ground would crack up, and you'd see like you'd see a tiny little red like insect, and then the camera would zoom all the way into that insect, and it would look like a shrimp, but the shrimp would be like probably the size of an ant, and it would release like a little roar, but the roar would sound like an evil demonic laugh, but baby-fied, like some little sound like that, some little funny like evil laugh from this demonic looking ant. And then after that, there would be like a slight flash forward, and it would be Ghidorah's battle against Godzilla in the city after he got charged up from the doctor Sawazawa, whatever his name is, and you would see like that same fight but from a different view. And during that battle, you would see the same little red insect watching from like maybe on the wall of a building while they're fighting. And then after that, it would flash forward, and you would see like burning Godzilla do the explosion on Ghidorah, and then like on the screen it would be like, I don't even know what the date would be. It would be like 2021 or some junk like that, and then you would see the Kong versus Godzilla fight on the water, and instead of it being like a shrimp creature, this time it would be like a fly creature. When Kong and Godzilla's fight on the water, you would see more of that fight from a different view, and then like a little red fly would fly out of the water and then like land on the ship near one of the humans and be watching that battle. And then it would flash forward, you would see like all the burning ships and all that type of stuff. It would flash forward again, it would be Godzilla x Kong in the city, which I think it was Hong Kong. You would see that fight. And then like the fly creature would be a little bit bigger, and it'd be watching like them duke it out, but it will probably be like different. The combat would be different. It wouldn't be just a clip of like the fight you already saw. It'd be the same fight but different scenes, because it's like a different perspective. Like, this happened, but we didn't see this part from when we watched it or whatever. It would be like an extended fight, not the whole fight, but just like a few punches and kicks or yada 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 yada. Then it would time skip forward to Godzilla and Kong fighting Mecha Godzilla, and like I said before, it'd be an extended scene of like that fight when they team attacked him, but it wouldn't just be him getting massacred, he'd actually be fighting back. And then you'd see during that fight like a fly would go past, and you'd see like 3 flies, but they would all look different, like they're growing and evolving while they're watching. Then there'll be another time skip, it'd be like 2024 and you would see Scar King versus Kong and Godzilla versus Shimu, and it would kind of be a Scar King extension. You would see Scar King fighting Kong, and rather than just get instantly beaten to death, he would actually get some more hits in, like parts of his fight with Kong in the city, which I think was Brazil, that you didn't see. So he wouldn't just look like he just instantly gets 3-shotted and frozen. He'd actually be dodging attacks and getting some hits in and all that type of stuff. And then it would end with a flash forward of like him frozen and then Kong smashing him into the ground. But the perspective would be from the ground. Like the camera would be looking up at Kong as he's slamming him into the camera. And as he shatters, you'd see a bunch of dead humans on the floor, and then like on top of one of the humans would be a giant like lobster creature. It would be almost the size of like the human corpse's torso, and then these other crab-like creatures would be like ripping out of his torso like alien alien resurrection, like xenomorphs. But it will be like the crab creature will be ripping out of the body, and they'll be looking up, and since it's a bigger creature, it'll look up, and then it'll be looking at Kong, but Kong wouldn't see it because it is human size, and it's among the shattered pieces of Scar King, and then it would like release that same laugh it did as like a tiny little ant when Godzilla got hit with the oxygen destroyer, but it would sound more cryptic and evil. And then after that, it would say like today. I assume it'll be like 2026 or whatever the hell. I don't know when the movie would come out, but whatever. And side note, I don't really have too many ideas for Kong in this concept that I have, but most of my ideas is Godzilla related. The Kong stuff would probably just get like shoehorned in there. But moving forward, I'm not sure exactly how it would start the beginning per se, but it would be like the military's under attack by like these car-sized crab creatures that kind of look like Satan's sperm or something like that. They would be attacking the military and like causing havoc and all this type of stuff. And I don't know if it would be the American military, but some military base, and they would be absorbing nuclear energy and all this type of stuff, and they would conquer some location. I don't know if I want to make it Russia. I don't know, but the point is they'll conquer a power plant, and out of this power plant would grow a plant. The plant would be kind of evil. It would probably look like some hentai tentacle creature, but the point is that this plant will be harvesting power from some city, and it will be producing like these bug creatures that humanity would be fighting against. And since these bug creatures are smaller, Godzilla doesn't really pick up on them like immediately until maybe they attack like America or something. I don't know, but to make a long story short, the humans actually kill one of them, and they start studying it and yada yada yada. They realize it's from like the oxygen destroyer, because when you get too close with it, maybe you get sick or something. I don't know, but to try to lure Godzilla, they would like throw one at him while he's sleeping, or put one near him while he's sleeping, because these creatures are spreading, and they're trying to use him to like get rid of this plant thing, like this plant tower. And eventually he wakes up, and Godzilla would like smell that scent, and then he would realize something is wrong. And one thing I would do is for the Godzilla scenes, it would be a narrator, where like a Morgan Freeman voice or something like that, and it would be like the thoughts, like what does Godzilla think about. So it's like, since he's a creature and he doesn't talk, there would be like a narrator for certain parts where it's like he looked upon the humans wondering as to why they awakened him from his slumber, and then he would look forward or look to the right, but as he pondered why he awoke, he sensed an evil presence, one unfamiliar to him, and as the ruler of the earth, he decided to investigate. Some crap like that. Like there would be like some narrator for certain scenes, so you kind of get an idea as to like his intellect or something like that. So he would travel, and it would be from Godzilla's perspective. So you see him walk across the city and then like travel across the water, and he would go to the area where like the plant thing was at, and it would kind of be like a it would kind of be like a biolati in a sense, where this creature is like a plant, ugly, hideous creature that would fight Godzilla. And he would actually, I'm thinking about having him lose this fight. He would get beat because it's a 2-on-1. It's a biolati that would create like destroyer in a sense. So it's a handicap match where he's fighting like an army of like baby destroyers that's sucking his energy and making him weaker, while also fighting this tentacle, like ugly looking Venus flytrap creature that's also beating him. And he would damage it all. It would be like a stalemate, but he would lose. And then he would retreat. And then maybe after he retreats heavily wounded, it would like go to Kong. And then like it would probably be a time skip where, like I said before, the Kong stuff is kind of like off the top of the dome. But Kong would be a little bit older. He would have Suko. Suko would look like a smaller version of Scar King, and there would be another tree. It would be like another Biolati, and it would kind of be similar to like maybe like the Garden of Eden, and there's like two trees, like the tree of life, and then like the tree of knowledge, and like there's a rose Biolati which is in the hollow earth, and that would be like the good tree. And then like on like earth, above the hollow earth, there would be like the evil tree, which would be another Biolati. Like there's two of them. And then like the humans would come down because Godzilla would retreat to the hollowed earth. He would go to an environment we haven't seen before, and then he would like hibernate or something like that to recover from his injuries. And while he's doing that, you know, they would probably try to get Kong to fight Destroyer and like Biolati above the hollowed earth. And while Godzilla's missing, he's nowhere to be found. It would be like Armageddon. You'd have like all of the nation's superpowers coming together to stop Destroyer. And as Destroyer constantly defeats these armies, the plant creature would grow and get stronger, and it would even start growing down and affecting the hollowed earth from above. So some type of way Kong would get a power up from Biolati, the rose variant, and maybe he'll be able to use like lightning as a temporary buff, like red lightning from Biolati. And he would come from the hollowed earth with Mothra and what's his name? And King Caesar. King Caesar would be another creature that Kong would meet. King Caesar would be the guardian of Rose Biolati. They would have a fight, and then it would end in like a truce. And when evil Biolati starts to grow into the hollowed earth, they would take one of those portals, and it would be like Kong, King Caesar, and Mothra versus Destroyer and Biolati. But Kong has the other Biolati, Rose Biolati's power up, and it'll be a 3v1 where they're beating up Biolati, but Biolati can produce baby destroyers, and that would kind of make the fight unfair. So it would be like Kong and Mothra and King Caesar teaming up with the military to kind of be like a mini war. And while that's happening, Godzilla would be absorbing power, and then he would become, since I'm just skipping to the end, he would become Space Godzilla. He would go through a transformation where he'd have crystals coming out of his back. Then he'll have like the two giant crystals on his shoulders, and then he'll have the I'll give him longer arms, and he'll kind of like crawl on all fours. Like he'll stand up on two legs, but his arms would be hanging down, so he's kind of hunched over because of the weight of the crystals on his back. And then he'll have like the cross horn thing that Space Godzilla has on his head. And then he'd fly up to he'd fly from hollowed earth to earth, but he wouldn't be fighting Biolati. He would be fighting Destroyer, who's been evolving over the course of the script. Destroyer, you would see him like wreaking havoc all over the earth, different variations of him, and he would be adapting and getting stronger. And you would see him like torturing humans, like he'd literally like maybe like send one of his skin cells to like torture a human before he kills him, and then he'd laugh. You see him like laughing. His roar is like a laugh as he tortures and makes people suffer. It'll be like animal life be suffering. Like, he doesn't even like just kill stuff by walking past. He actually takes his time to make people scream and suffer and stuff. Like, you would see that he enjoys like invoking fear. I kind of left that out, but he would be running rampant, just destroying like essentially like all the landmarks all over the earth. Like, he would be like a satanic army that's conquering the world. And then Godzilla, Space Godzilla, would take him on while the other characters are fighting Biolati. So there'll be like a 1v1 with Godzilla versus the actual main body of Destroyer, while Kong, King Caesar, and Mothra is fighting Biolati with buffs from Rose Biolati, since the other Biolati is like in the Hollowed Earth. And they'll be going back and forth, but I want the fight to be gruesome and bloody, which is why I said for their rated R rating. Like, Godzilla against Destroyer, he would lose limbs, but in his new form with the crystals, he would be able to regenerate like a lot of the damage he would get, but there would be blood. Like, when he would get stabbed by like the Destroyer's blades and extra arms, the blood would be going all over the floor and junk. And when he would like rip off or burn off one of Destroyer's limbs, the limb that severed would turn into like another creature that he'd have to fight. So he'd be fighting the main Destroyer, and then like the severed limbs of the main Destroyer would turn into smaller Destroyers that would be like ripping parts of his leg off and jumping on his back and like stopping him from doing an attack. And he'd be dealing with like all of that, while the main Destroyer can also regenerate, but better. And then like to skip to the end, there would be like a beam collision, and similar to what happened with Mechagodzilla and Godzilla when they did the beam clash. But for this one, I would make it more Dragon Ball Z like, where there would be a ball that's massive, like an explosion in the middle of the beam, and it's like whoever gets hit with the with the middle ball would, like, you know, they would die. And it would be like, even his beam would be so crazy, like when he fires it, even though like he's who knows how many feet above the ground would like split. Almost like the parting of the Red Sea when he fires the beam. And the same would go for Destroyer when they clash. And even after putting all that power in with the crystals and all that type of stuff, at the end Destroyer would overpower him with the blast, and it would look like it would look like a Dragon Ball Z character getting engulfed with like a Kamehameha beam or something like that. But then after Destroyer fires the blast and he starts laughing, Space Godzilla would essentially run through the blast and like tackle into the ground, heavily damaged. Like, Godzilla would probably be almost raw, like all of his outer skin would be like destroyed. He would actually look kind of evil himself, and then he would recharge the blast again, and sometimes he would miss due to like Destroyer fighting back and like stabbing him in the neck so that he can't fire the beam. And then some type of way he would turn his back to Destroyer and impale him with the crystals, and then he would do like another type of explosion similar to what he used on Muto Prime, where he would shatter his back to just like make like similar to like a giant nuclear explosion that would only shoot upwards. And it would just incinerate Destroyer at the cost of him like having like organs falling out of his back and stuff. Like, his back would be so destroyed that he would look like he's beyond repair essentially. One thing I didn't mention that I forgot is that his he has two big crystals on his shoulders like Space Godzilla, and they get destroyed in this fight, and they don't recover. So when they get damaged earlier in the fight, he would get weaker, and that would contribute to the reason as to why he lost the beam blast, because his power regulators weren't working properly or whatever due to injury. But he still tanked the blast, even though it destroys like half the combat arena. And then he does that attack and then self-destructs his remaining smaller crystals that makes up his spinal cord. to incinerate Destroyer, which is like a nuke going off that he would also survive the nuclear explosion that he would do and be caught in. And when Destroyer's main body dies, it would allow like Mothra, Kong, and King Caesar to finish off the other not the other Destroyer, the other villain, which would be Biolati Dark. And they would destroy that. Maybe Kong would shoot like some beam of red lightning, like a blast, like a DBZ character fused with like an attack. Like Mothra would go into like a burning form and fly into the beam and like eviscerate the tree of evil, the tree of knowledge or whatever. And then it would end off. Maybe Shima would also make an appearance too, fighting the freaking that tree creature, since it would be bigger than like all the Titans, the Biolati I would create at least. And it would essentially end with like Godzilla like looking off into the destruction as like parts of his body is falling. He has blood leaking out of his neck. He got like one of his arms is gone. You know, his tail is half destroyed, and then his back is completely open. The organs is falling out, and then like as he would smile, the sun rays would beam in through like the clouds, and then like you would hear like his heartbeat fading, and he would fall towards the floor. And as he's just looking forward, maybe I don't think a human would be in proximity to him at this point, but maybe you would see like his eye, and then like there would be like a tear come out, and then he would die essentially. But he died stopping Destroyer's reign. I would do something like that, and just probably to play devil's advocate, I would add in because for the idea I have of him in Space Godzilla, he would have like a bluish. His skin would go from like the black type color to like a dark blue. And I guess maybe one thing I would do is put a mid-credit scene where like his eye opens back up and like you hear his heartbeat, or you hear like humans would be like next to his corpse, and then maybe you'd hear like a heartbeat, and then like that would be it. I would do something like that, but that would be my idea for Space Godzilla. It would essentially, Godzilla x Kong, Armageddon. It would be like a war between humanity and the acolytes of Destroyer. And then, since I feel like we couldn't get Space Godzilla as a creature from space, Godzilla would evolve into Space Godzilla and fight Destroyer and Biolati would help. So I would do something like that. But I want the fight to be tough and heartfelt and like rigorous. It wouldn't be like a playful fight where it's like jolly. It'll be a gruesome fight, because this is like for the fate of life itself. This is like for the fate of the world, which is why it would be so gruesome and bloody and so ridiculously violent. But that would be my idea. You can tell me what you think and all of that. Anyways, later guys. Hopefully y'all enjoyed.